You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Friday, June 21st, 2019. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story of the day is from investing.com. It's the top 5 things to know in the market on Friday. The first thing to know is stocks pause as U.S.-Iranian tensions rise. The stock rally that followed the Federal Reserve's signal of interest rate cuts this year faded on Friday as escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran hit risk appetite. U.S. President Donald Trump had approved military strikes against Iran on Friday in retaliation for the downing of a U.S. surveillance drone, but called off the attacks at the last minute, according to a New York Times report. European stocks also paused for a breath, with the Pan-European Stocks 600 slightly lower, pulling back from a weekly gain of nearly 5%. Asian shares were also mostly lower at the close, though China's Shanghai Composite bucked the trend, ending 0.5% higher after signs of more liquidity support from the People's Bank of China. The second thing to note today, gold pops above 1,400 to a 6-year high. Spot gold surged past 1,400 overnight to its highest level since September 2013, reaching a weekly gain of nearly 5%. That's before the rally began to fade in early morning trade on Friday. Gold futures saw a similar price move past the 1,400 level to reach prices not seen since July of 2014. The yellow metal has primarily benefited this week from the Fed's change in outlook, which has fostered expectations of up to 3 rate cuts this year and driven the dollar nearly 1% lower. Signs that central banks from Europe, Japan, and Australia are also willing to ease policy to support a slowing economic outlook, geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and Iran, and the unresolved U.S.-China trade dispute have increased demand for the safe haven metal. The third thing to know today is oil is on track for a 9% weekly surge. U.S. crude oil futures extended gains on Friday, bringing their weekly gain close to 9% amid growing fears that supply out of the Persian Gulf could be disrupted by the standoff between the U.S. and Iran. Any disruptions would further tighten global supply, given that OPEC and its allies plan to extend their existing agreement on output restraint at the beginning of July. At the same time, concerns over the global demand outlook have receded a little on hopes for looser monetary policy and on hopes that the U.S. and China will move closer to a trade agreement when the two leaders meet next week at the G20 summit. The fourth thing to know today is global manufacturing strength shows mixed signs ahead of U.S. data. Global readings of manufacturing activity showed mixed signs in data released Friday as investors waited for the latest readings from the U.S. Manufacturing activity in Japan underwent a third straight month of contraction. Despite a continuing downturn in the Eurozone's manufacturing sector, the overall reading of business activity managed to reach a 7-month high. Still, the IHS market research showed that companies remained at their least optimistic levels in nearly 5 years due to concerns over slowing global growth and the impact of trade conflicts. Markets will have preliminary readings for June on both the U.S. manufacturing and services sectors when IHS Markit releases its data Friday at 9:45 a.m. Eastern. The more widely followed manufacturing report from the Institute of Supply Management will be released on Monday. And the fifth thing to note today, United Health buys Equian and Slack surges on its debut. Parent of the largest health insurer, United Health, has agreed to buy healthcare payments firm Equian for $3.2 billion, according to the Wall Street Journal. The deal would be the latest in a flurry of mergers and acquisitions in the sector this year that now tops $260 billion in deals, according to Dealogic. Elsewhere, investors will be looking to see if messaging app Slack Technologies can add to gains of nearly 50% that it made on its stock market debut Thursday. The share's closing price valued the company at over $20 billion, underlining that the market still has a relatively high degree of tolerance for loss-making unicorn startups if the business model is compelling enough. Slack debuted through a direct listing rather than a traditional IPO. As such, there are no underwriters to smooth out any potential volatility in the immediate aftermath of the listing. Our next story today is from MarketWatch.com. Bank of England mulls retail payment services access for Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency and others. The Bank of England is open to letting new payments services such as Facebook's upcoming Libra cryptocurrency hold funds overnight with the central bank, something historically limited to commercial banks. In prepared remarks to bankers in London, the bank's governor, Mark Carney, said it makes sense to consider extending access to new payment providers as they can improve the transmission of monetary policy and increase competition. He said Facebook's Libra in particular could lower costs for money transfers. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, Friday, June 21st, 2019. Your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli, Trade Smarts, and have a nice weekend.
The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.